Hello learners and welcome back to Constant Learners. In the previous video we have already discussed the difference between the fill handle and the autofill option. We saw a lot of examples to see how we can copy the data using the fill handle or to create series using fill handle and the autofill options. We discussed a lot of examples in that video. If you haven't watched it, I request you to please do so. It has been linked above. In this video, we have some more shortcuts to copy the data to create series using the fill handle and the autofill options. So let's get started. Now we know that whenever we have a day mentioned in a cell, if we use the fill handle to drag and drop it down, it's going to continue the list of days, right? Now I do not want to continue the list of days. I want to repeat these 3 days along with its formatting. I want to copy these 3 cells along with its formatting in the cells beyond. The first thing that we can do is we can just select these, drag and drop, right? And then we can just go to this autofill option, go to copy cells, and it has copied the cells. This we've already discussed in the previous video. I do not want to use this option. Whenever we press Ctrl while using the fill handle, it does exactly opposite to what the fill handle does. Like here, if we use the fill handle and drag and drop it here, it just continues the series. But if I press Ctrl while using the fill handle to drag and drop it down, it will not continue the series or the list of days. Rather, it will copy the cells along with its formatting. So when we press Ctrl, it does exactly opposite to what the fill handle does. Okay, so this is one way of repeating or copying the data in the cells rather than creating a list. For example, this Sunday, if I use the fill handle to drag and drop it down, it will continue the list of days. But I do not want to continue the list of days. So I will simply press Ctrl and use the fill handle to drag and drop. And I have the list of Sunday repeating in the next cells. Alright. So this is the first way of copying the data into the next cells. Now let's say I have to repeat this January until here. Okay. How can I do this? See, I could simply drag and drop this and use this option to copy cells. But I do not want to do this. Second option is to press Ctrl, drag and drop. And we have January. But I do not want to press Ctrl. The next way is to select all of these cells and press Ctrl D. So it just duplicates whatever is in the first cell, whatever text or whatever data is in the first cell, it just duplicates that into the rest of the cells. This can also work horizontally. See, if I have to copy January across these cells, I could simply press Ctrl and drag the fill handle and January gets copied here. Now let's see if we can copy the data across using Ctrl D. No. Ctrl D is used only to copy the data down and not across the row, right? Select this and Ctrl D. It does not work, okay? So it does not duplicate the data across the row. Now there's another way of copying this data across this column, right? We know that if we drag and drop it here, it's going to continue the list of months, right? We could simply go to this option and go to copy cells. But what if there was a shortcut to doing this? We could simply right click while dragging it here and we get the options here, copy cells, and we can copy the data. So we are simply, rather than left clicking on the mouse, we are using the right click and dragging it down. We get these options and we can copy the cells or whatever option we need to select. We can do that. Alright. Now I told you if I select these cells across the row and I press Ctrl D, it does not duplicate the cells. Then how can we duplicate the cells across the row? For that we need to use Ctrl R. Okay, so if I select these cells and press Ctrl R, the data in the adjacent cells get copied here. Okay, now what if I select multiple cells in the rows to copy the data and press Ctrl R? It does not work. If I have to copy this data across multiple cells, across multiple rows, then I have to select all the cells and then press Ctrl R. Okay, and then it works well. Okay, I hope that this was clear. So this is how we can copy the data through different ways, through a column and through the rows. Okay, now if I have to create a series, okay, now as I told you, control works exactly opposite to what the fill handle does without the control. I know that if I drag and drop this down, it's just going to copy the number 1. Alright, but if I press control and use the fill handle to drag and drop it down, rather than copying the number, it's going to create a series by incrementing the number by 1. Okay, so this is how we can create a series by using control. Now if I have to fill 1 to 1000 here, so I could simply press 1, okay, press control, drag it until 1000. Okay, so it is a time consuming job. Of course it is, right? We could go till 1000 like this, but I need a shortcut to do this, right? So what could I do? I could simply go to this option here, go to series, columns, because I have to create a series in the column. Linear, because I need a linear series. Step value, I need to increment it by 1. Stop value 1000 and OK. And now you can see that we have created a series until the number 1000. So this fill option here has multiple options that we can choose from. If I have to create a series across the row, step value 1, that is I have to increment by 1, and stop value, the final number I need is, let's say 10. Okay, and you see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, if I have to, let's say, increment by 2, okay, I can simply go to fill, series, let's say column, step value 2, okay, stop value 10 and OK. So now I have 1, then 3, 5, 7 and 9. Alright, so now it is incrementing by 2. So the fill option is another option that we can use to create the series. If the series are too lengthy, then that is a very quick option to fill the series, right? Now if I have to, let's say, multiply our number by 2, that is 2, then 2 by 2 is 4, then 4 by 2 is 8, 16, okay, and let's say we use the fill handle to do this. Now after this you can say that it is not incrementing our series, rather it is creating some random numbers. We do not want the series, we want 16 twos are 32 here, right? After 32 it should be 64, but this is something else. So what can we do? Simply go to fill, go to series. Now we need it to grow, right? This is not a linear series that we are creating, and we have to grow it by 2. Okay, now you see 16 twos are 32, 2s are 64, 2s are 128, 2s are 256 and so on, right? So that is how we can use this fill option to create incrementing series, that is growth series. There are also date options that we have already discussed using this AutoFill option and AutoFill. Okay. Now if I have to create a series that is multiplying by 3, Okay, so let's start with 1 and go to fill, series, column, growth, and we have to multiply it by 3 now. Okay, and let's say stop value to be 30. Okay, 1 3s are 3, 3 3s are 9, 9 3s are 27, right? So we've got this series of hours wherein the number, the output that we are getting is being multiplied by 3. Okay, now we know that there are 4 quarters in an year, right? So we could simply write quarter 1 and drag and drop the fill handle, and we've got quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, because there are 4 quarters in a year. Okay, this could also continue with Q1, and we'll have after Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Alright, and this is how we can create the series. These are some more shortcuts. I hope you remember this shortcut here of control. Whenever we press control, it does opposite to what the fill handle actually does without pressing the control key. Alright, then there's drag and right click, wherein we could just simply use the right click on the mouse while dragging and we get the options here: copy cells, fill formatting, fill without formatting. Okay, like here, if I use right click while using the fill handle to drag and drop, I get the option fill without formatting. So after that we get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So these are some shortcuts in continuation to the previous video. Also, there's one more shortcut that I'd like to tell you all. Let's say I'm writing here hello there, and I realize that I do not want to write it in this cell. Quickly press escape and everything that you've written will get erased. Okay, rather than using the backspace to delete everything or jumping to the next cell and then coming to the cell to delete it, we could simply press escape and everything that you have written in that cell will get erased. Alright, I hope that all of these was clear. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I also had to show the use of flash fill in this video, but we're going to continue that in the next video. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing content, and thank you so much for watching.